Okay. Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Emma. I am a front-end developer at Amazing Labs, and I've been contributing to Drupal since last summer, and last summer, and I've been mentoring a sprint since this summer. You'll probably recognize me from these places, and let's get started. So, what is a sprint? Sprints are an opportunity for people in the community to get together in a room and work on Drupal. Sprints are split into separate initiatives, which are different areas within Drupal, so like multilingual, front end, rules, etc. So why would you attend a sprint? I recently asked the community why they love sprinting, why do they attend sprints, and this was my favourite response from Ruben. So it's I love sprinting because this is where Drupal is made. Sprints are the heart of Drupal. A bunch of people with different interests sitting together and working on the same project, a project they believe in. Okay, so what can you get out of sprinting? Okay, so no one wants to sit at home trying to learn how to contribute to Drupal, learn Drupal 8 all by themselves. It's a huge learning process. You need to get a handle on the issue queue, learn a new CMS, learn how to write patches, like all these new processes. So you should go through all of this at a sprint surrounded by people who can help. Sprints are a great environment to ask as many silly questions as you want. They're not written down anywhere on the internet, so no one can reference back to them later. And then once you get better at coping with all these processes, you can actually start learning from the actual things you're working on in the issue queue. So, sprints are the perfect environment to share knowledge. You end up hanging out with people with similar interests to you, so in my case, front end. And I use sprints to completely surround myself with front enders every time. I don't have many dedicated front enders in my office, so I normally sit there really wanting to share something that only front enders would understand, and there's no one there to tell it to. So I do this at sprints. We catch up on what we've been up to, share things that we've learned since we've seen each other, and just have a good time. Also, sprints as a whole, they help you find out what's going on in the community, what is important at the moment, and where things are going forward in the future. This leads to things moving forward. Sprints are the best place to move things forward quickly in Drupal, whether it's bringing an idea to a sprint and getting into a huge long discussion, which Morton does a lot, and these turn into new things into Drupal 8. Also, when you're working on issues, a sprint lead will probably have something in mind that they really want to get done, and they can sit there and be like, this person will write the patch, this person will review it, maybe second review it, and you can set an issue to reviewed and tested by the community, I can never remember that term, at the end of an afternoon, a sprint, a few hours, and that is really important. Therefore, you're more likely to get your work into Drupal at a sprint, as an issue will not sit around for long. So, next thing. Okay, so sprints give you the opportunity to take on any role you want. At your job, you might not have the opportunity to train people or to manage a project, and you can try this out at a sprint. So this year, I tried out mentoring for the first time. I didn't like the idea, I was scared, but I knew it was a good thing to do, so I tried it, and it turns out me sitting there helping people is what I really love to do. Also, at a sprint a bit later, I decided that it would be useful to triage the front-end issue queue before a sprint to prepare the issues for the newcomers who I'll be mentoring. And I decided I actually really like doing that as well, and I haven't done that before. So sprints help you find your place in the community as well. Last but not least, friendship. Sprinting is an awesome way to make so many friends. You'll end up spending a lot of time with the same group of people, and as you come back to more sprints, you will end up spending a lot of time with the same people. Sprints can go on for a long time, all day. They can go at DrupalCons, they go on well into the night, as people just don't want to leave. People just want to sprint all day long. But there's more to sprints than just sitting in front of a laptop. You end up having lunches, dinners, people bring treats a lot, which is really nice, beers, card games, songs. There's so many things that people do at a sprint, like at that time. So this picture is from Drupal Dev Days, where we just wanted to have dinner, and I think there was only like a few of us who were like gonna have dinner, and they just escalated into like 30. The restaurant was packed out with just us, and yeah. So things like this happen a lot at sprints. And also, the most important thing, I use sprints now mostly just to go see all of my friends, as well as work on Drupal. Also, as a bonus, after you go through a few sprints, or even just one, your work will end up in Drupal. Here are some of my accomplishments. They don't all fit on the slide, there are a lot more, but here are a few, and it's great. It's a great feeling. So, if you're wondering, what can beginners actually work on? There are two words that are very important, and it's novice tasks. These are small, achievable tasks that seem really quick and easy, and like, oh, I can just do that. But amongst learning how to contribute, learning the issue queue, getting set up, which can go interestingly, and it can take a lot longer than you think. But you will achieve this task in a sprint, and maybe another one, but you will achieve it in one sprint, and it will feel great. And leads, and sprint leads, initiative leads, and mentors will prepare all these tasks beforehand. So they will check that there's clear instructions, tag it with novice, and you'll be able to look at it and start working on it as soon as possible. Also, never expect to have to find your own tasks at your first few sprints. People who have prepared these tasks have these in mind, and if you speak to the right person, they'll be like, I have a nice thing for you to work on. So examples of these good novice tasks, which are nice, are re-rolling a patch. That's not the easiest thing, but it is pretty good. It's good to learn. Manually testing a patch, adding screenshots, writing small patches, reviewing patches. I think the best thing to get started with is reviewing patches. When I mentor, I always give someone a review first, because when I started, I was just terrified of doing it, but it's actually it's a nice way to get into Drupal. So front end is a nice area as well, because when you review a patch in front end, it is visual. You can see if this patch fixes a problem or not, and you can review it, add screenshots. And it's a simple thing to get started with contributing to Drupal. So now, where can you sprint? This is Drupalcamp.com. This website is super useful for finding the next camps, cons, user groups, everything. They're plotted on the map. This is just Europe for like, this is now, so we're on there, and there's just so many camps happening. And then you can look up on the internet if they're having sprints. Sprints happen at most Drupal events now. You've probably heard of DrupalCon sprints. They have huge dedicated sprints for beginners. At these things, you'll be taught a lot. You'll get set up properly. It takes a whole day, and you'll have a task to work on. So they're quite long and hectic, very, very popular, but you'll get the right tools, and there will be some help, dedicated help. Drupal camps are smaller, and the focus on tasks might be there might be more focus on certain areas of Drupal, depending on who's attending, but then they're less structured, but you're left to learn at your own pace, a bit more quieter, and there's still lots of people who are willing to help, even if they aren't assigned as mentors. Everyone will be wanting to help. So there's the differences between the two big ones. So yeah, make your choice based on that. So you might be thinking how I started sprinting. Cool, that's working. So I made a lot of mistakes when I started sprinting, mostly because I didn't know enough about it. I didn't have anyone to tell me what really goes on. They just said it's a good thing. I wanted to do it, but I just didn't know how I could help. So my first sprint was DrupalCon Munich, which was 3 DrupalCons back. And I went to the Getting Started sprint, and I didn't really speak up enough. I got very lost, and I ended up on a table with PHP developers when I was just a front ender, and they're like, we don't know what to do with you. So I was like, they couldn't find me something to work on, so I kind of quickly I left quite quickly because I couldn't handle it. So my next sprint was at Drupal Dev Days, which is a week-long dedicated sprint. It's smaller than Drupalcamp, but it's a big camp based focused on sprinting. So I went there, I finally got the courage to speak to people, be able to just sit in the sprint room, just be like, okay, I'm here. And 5 or 6 people helped me get set up, and I was given one of those small achievable tasks to work on, which I finished by the end of the day, and also that same day Dries committed it, which was very cool. I was very happy with that. So after all this, all these lessons I've learned, and since then, things I've picked up from seeing other people starting sprinting, I have a list of advice to tell you and to bear in mind. So, advice time. This is for first time sprinting, so going to a first sprint. Yes. So, do not expect to achieve absolutely everything you want to. It is a huge learning experience. Things may go wrong with setting up, and you just need to have the attitude that you're willing to come back and try again, learn something else, learn something more, perfect what you did at this sprint. And next thing is, make sure you find your crowd. If you are a front-ender, go find the front-end people. If you know someone who's going to sprint, go stick with them. Or spot the initiative leads, the mentors, just spot someone and say, I'm new and I'm sticking with you today. So next thing is, ask for a nice novice task. So don't stick, if someone gives you something to work on and you're not happy with it, ask for something nicer. Just has to be something you're comfortable with. It can be super easy, like I said, but you want to be able to get something done. And then needs to keep asking for help. Do not sit there in silence, freaking out at your computer. If people think you're quiet, that you're fine, you can handle it, but just keep asking for help, even if it's the stupidest little thing. Also, do not worry about being perfect. This is something I did probably since my first sprint. It took a while to get used to. It's like, don't try and solve a whole issue in one patch. Don't try and fix everything. Don't sit there thinking, well, I think this patch is not going to work, it's going to fail, I've done the wrong thing. Just do something and post it. Someone will look at it, review it, they'll give you advice. No one is mean, and you can learn from your mistakes, or it'll be great. It could be great. And also lastly, do not burn yourself out. I see so many first timers sat in their laptops looking pale, very scared, very worried, very concentrated for the whole sprint. They don't ever look up and see what's going on at DrupalCon sprint, which is huge. So take your head out of your laptop, look around, and have some fun with the people around you. People are there to have fun. So this is advice for coming back for more. So your second, third, fourth sprint, for how many sprints. So before you go to your next sprint, try and sign up for it. Online, the camps, the cons, they now normally advertise a sign-up spreadsheet, and you'll be able to see who's attending, and it's split into the different initiatives. So you'll see like, oh, there's a lot of front-enders, like front-end, there's so many front-enders going, I should go to this camp. Also, it's still not going to be super easy. Just because you've been to one sprint doesn't make you an expert at anything. You probably will forget what you worked on last time. So don't expect that, oh, I should be able to sprint now, I'm an expert. You're still a beginner for X amount of sprints after your first sprint. So still find people to help you through things. No one expects you to be an expert either. No one's sitting there going, oh, you've been before, you should know these things. Like, everyone will help you. Also, still keeps those small achievable tasks. Now you can probably complete 3 or 4 in one sprint, or 5, or more, depends on how you feel. And also, if you're interested in a particular area, make sure you find the initiative leads and people working on it. So I keep saying front end because I love front end, but go speak to all these people. They know what's going on, what's going to happen in the future, how you can fit in, and it's just nice to get to know and makes you want to come back for more. So finally, I have mentioned mentoring a lot. I hope I did. It's very important. So mentors look like this at DrupalCamps, very bright and happy. Mentors are super important to sprinting. I think they're like the key thing for a sprint being a success. If there's mentors, there's help, there's support. So before a sprint, mentors will help prepare the issues, So they're lined up for newcomers. They will help distribute them, and they will sit and help you out. The common misconception is that mentors are experts at everything. When I signed up to be a mentor, I thought, oh no, I'm going to have to learn everything and know anything anyone's going to ask me and be a complete expert. And I really, really wasn't. It was only a year after I started sprinting. But I want to know, helping people. So if you know just one thing, or there's so much documentation online that you can just follow, so you can literally help someone and learn at the same time, then that's great. You can pass on a tiny piece of knowledge to, say, 5 people at a sprint, and you've passed on knowledge, and it's awesome. More people knowing things are better. So the most important things that mentors do is they provide moral support, they cheer people on, keep people going, keep people motivated, and you just make people feel great that they've survived the sprint and they've achieved something. And it's all about providing rewarding experiences. People will hopefully attend because of you and mention you to people. So this link has a whole bunch of stuff about mentoring on it. It's so good. So I recommend you go and read that if you're interested. And this is the end of my talk. I hope I didn't speak too fast. We are running a sprint on Sunday. So if you're going to that sprint, put your hands up. Cool. So if you're interested in starting sprinting or just sprinting, talk to us, because we're going to be there on Sunday. And also, you people who put your hands up, you can help me answer any of the questions on sprinting. Help me. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening. And yeah, that's it. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
I wanted to add one little thing. Say you're already, hypothetically, you're already going home tomorrow night and you will not be able to attend this sprint.
Mm-hmm.
We're organizing one in Amsterdam on Friday, November the 21st. It's a Friday and there'll be lunch and shit. So that's one of the first upcoming sprints that's going to be sort of in the neighborhood that you can actually plan for to attend. So if you can virtually join the one on Sunday, which you should, you can join us in Amsterdam.
Is it on Drupalcamp?
Yes, that was the pink little arrow thing on Drupalcamp.
Right.
Yeah, and there's a lot of camps happening in November as well, and they should all have sprints. So there's a lot coming up. Any other questions? Oh God.
Okay, so hypothetically, I am completely new. I've been doing web development for a decade or so, and I visit my first Drupal event, and there's a sprint going on. And I know you've told me that there are going to be a lot of people who can help me out, but I've built a few small Drupal sites, and I don't really know much about Drupal. I've been doing web development for 10 years, but I don't know much about Drupal. Should I still go to a sprint? Is it going to be useful?
Yes. You just picked on something I forgot to say. Okay, so you don't need to know Drupal or how to code. You could do something completely different, and you just need to be willing to figure out what an issue is about, and you can do a small section of an issue. You don't have to do any coding. You don't have to touch patches. You can just push an issue along by working out what it's saying. If there's no clear instructions, you can be like, this person meant this, or you might have a better idea about something, you can put that into, or you can try it, you can review a patch, because like I said, there are instructions on how to do it, and also you can, if it's like a visual change, or just you can work it out. And also, I can't remember my last point, but yeah, you don't have to know Drupal.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay, I think you mentioned it in your session, but maybe you can go a bit deeper. Why do you think it's worth of attending to the sprints? Why do you think I should spend my Sunday on going to sprints?
Good point.
You have nothing better to do.
Yeah, because
No, I do have a life.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the really hard thing I have to answer, because I just, at the beginning, I still didn't quite get it. I was like, okay, so this is a lot of spare time, blah, blah, blah. But it's just a lot, I don't know, it's just a lot of fun. I enjoy giving back to Drupal. achieving something, I always end up learning new things that I don't do my day-to-day job, but kind of linked, and then later on it'll be like, oh, I did this thing at that sprint that time, and it's really cool, and they're more like, oh, I never thought of that, and it's just, you pick up on, I don't know, it's hard to answer that. Why do you do it?
Why do I do it?
Yeah, I'm gonna flip it back to you. Why do you come to sprints?
Because it's fun.
Yeah, it's because it's fun.
I think learning is the most important thing,
Yeah.
and it's something that we should talk even more.
Yeah.
I personally think it's the most important thing.
It just gets really addictive as well, because you start learning, you have fun, you go out for dinner with people. It's like, it's not just hard work all the time.
Yeah, and I've spent all my weekends during this month in
Yeah, you do it all the time.
So after this, I feel like my life is more in the sprints and camps than what is in the Finland where I live.
Mm. Yeah.
That's sad.
It's not sad. I think it's cool. You get to go see everything. You get to go to different countries. You get to do so many opportunities and see so many people.
It's also
So.
dark here the whole day.
What's also nice is that you learn how to contact people because you've met them in person and you know they're all on IFC. So you're working at your job and you have a certain problem and you know, I know this guy. Maybe he's on IRC and you have a look and he's there, ask the question, and all of a sudden your problem is solved.
Yeah, that's like a karma thing. When you do something good for Drupal, the Drupal ring will help you when you have your problems with anything.
Yeah.
Like if I want to ask any high-level core contributors, they're like, yeah, I'm willing to help you with this thing.
Yeah.
I can tell you how to use it.
You become.
And those can be completely newbie questions that I'm asking because.
Yeah, we're newbie.
Yeah, because I am newbie.
But it's true. I've done the same thing. And what I also like about sprints is because I've been a mentor for the past 2 years. It's not just to learn. Well, you learn by teaching other people too. And like Emma said, we're all generally very experienced web developers. We may not always have as much experience contributing back to Drupal, but we know a lot of our shit. So you can teach other people, you can get them going, and by teaching others, you learn a lot yourself as well. And that's kind of a fact that's known to humanity, but it also really applies to mentoring at a Drupalcamp sprint or any Drupalcamp sprint.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
One more really hard question is that do you think that your company gets revenue out of their when their employees are going to sprints or they are helping building Drupal? Not especially in the sprints, but also on their free time.
Revenue. So that's money.
Revenue can be
Yeah.
In the end point it's money, but it doesn't have to be direct because Drupal won't pay anything for the company directly.
No. My company lets me go to sprints because it's good for the community. Because eventually, but we use Drupal every day, so we should give something back. That's how I believe, and that's my company believes in. So.
But do you think it's because you personally get karma? Do you think it's possible that the companies get positive karma?
Yeah, I think if you are at a lot of sprints and you're seem to be there, then that's good for the company. Because they're always at the sprints, kind of things like they're always here, they're always there. But
I think Amazon is very known for being being in the community events, and I wouldn't know about the company without seeing it in the different events.
Yeah.
So
I use sprints for my own personal gain most of the time. So I go to see my friends, I go to learn things, and I just like going to sprints. So I don't really thought about that too much. Okay. Anything else?
Recently I started to try to help the community, and I started to participate, and I found out that it's really hard for me because I don't have specific knowledge, and unfortunately it's really hard for me to attend to all these sprints because I don't have a really good situation with my company. It's kind of strict, and it's also really, as it was mentioned, it's time consuming because you have to spend a whole day on this, and you have to question is how can I get this specific knowledge and about participation, and how can I participate without sprints? Is there any opportunity?
Well, Iris, what? Was he whispering?
They have office hours.
Oh yeah. So that's on IRC, isn't it? You explain. Explain.
I've never really been involved in office hours.
I was going to say sorry, Max as well.
Either, but office hours in IRC are a couple of moments a week where several mentors, so people like Emma and Laurie and me, are online, and they're available for something like an hour to answer any questions you can have as a newbie. And those questions can be like, okay, there's this issue queue. How does it work? And we will explain it to you, or we can tell you where to find a nice article in the Drupal or handbook that explains all the details that you need to know. If you're like, okay, I'm a front ender. I want an HTML5 issue. We can help you find one.
Yeah.
Okay. And so all the low-level stuff that's hard to find out yourself, but that you just need to know to get started. That's what you can get help with. You can get that on any time, at any time on IRC, but the office hours are really specific, where a couple people are online just for that purpose.
It's twice a week.
Yeah.
It's on Tuesday and Wednesday. If you go on IRC, in between Tuesday, in between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning, so you get up early. Or on Wednesday, between 5 in the afternoon and 7 in the afternoon, you can go on IRC, and the mentors will be there, and you can just ask, I want to contribute, can you give me an issue? And they will just be online, they will give you an issue, you can work on that. Any questions you have, you can ask in IRC, and they will help you. So if you need help applying a patch, or finding a patch, or uploading it again, or even like, I don't know how to solve this, and they will give you some tips. And that's a really nice way to start.
Yeah.
And you can like say, okay, once every 2 weeks, I will make myself available between 5 and 7. It's only 2 hours, like 4 hours per month.
It will be great because I think it's better to be prepared for the sprints when you will not be in this situation when you sit there completely I don't know what to do, and I don't want to be in this situation. I want to participate, I want to share, and I want to get certain knowledge.
Actually, we have in the sprints also dedicated people to help the new people to get started.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But when you have, I know I have certain skills, and I also want to share them. And
yeah, of course, on the mentoring office hours, it's easy because then you can take your time, come next time again there, and you can figure the stuff out in 1 week.
At like Drupalcon, there are dedicated people. So like when they see like, okay, there's someone sitting there, and they just go to a lot of people, and like if you're like a mentor, you might not you don't know anything, but you're like a main task could be like, if you don't know, like if you're a main task could be just talking to people like, hey, you write? Do you need help? Are you working on anything? Can you find an issue? And as a mentor, you could say like, oh, you're more of a PHP developer. Oh, you should talk to him. He knows a lot about that. Or like at Drupalcon, I was just like, my task as a mentor, because I was also like a first-time mentor, I was just standing at the door asking people like, hey, you're here first time? All right, cool. Okay, I can set you up. There's a workshop there. So if your con or camp has dedicated sprints and they have mentors, then yeah, people like you, they don't get lost, because sometimes people just come in and like we know each other, so we just sit together and we code. But then when new people come in, there should be someone who's like, hey, who are you? Nice to meet you. And so if the sprints are really organized, there's someone there to help you and get started. So, and yeah, a good way is always IRC. And if there's like an event, maybe they have an IRC channel, you can just join it and say like, hey, I'm not on your sprints, but I'm working from home and I'm looking for an issue. And maybe you can review an issue that someone has just posted a patch for on Drupal. And so you can work from home, but using IRC.
One very small note, maybe it was implicit, but the IRC office hours are specifically about Drupal 8 core.
Yeah, this is my goal.
Yeah.
can try and host your own sprint, even if it's like after work in your office, like in your spare time, and if you can get like 2 or 3 of you together,
We just came up with this.
yeah, you can together try and figure it out yourselves, because more people
and
the
you
better.
can ask if you are organizing sprints, maybe you can get some more convenient contributors to the sprints, because the sprinters are actually willing to go in different sprints.
Yeah, we'll come visit you.
Yeah.
Sprint.
I just invited him here.
Yeah. Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you, Emma.